5 reasons why the Lotus Elise should be your very first dream car. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited to talk to you today about why, if it's not already, the Lotus Elise should be the very first dream car that you consider purchasing. Number 1, Supercar Looks. I'll be the first to say that looks aren't everything, just look at me. But when it comes to dream cars, they've got to look amazing. And the Lotus Elise is one of the most striking and beautiful sports cars ever. Now, are there prettier cars than the Elise? Sure. But there aren't that many. And not for what an Elise will cost you. It may sound superficial, but when it comes to dream cars, form and function go hand in hand. Number 2, an Elise will get you off the sidelines. Most people never buy their dream cars. They fantasize about them, they talk about them with their friends, but they may never actually experience one beyond attending a car show and looking at it, or maybe riding along with a friend who has one. And so they don't experience even a little bit of what it's really like to participate in the ownership of a car that's truly special. The fact that most supercars are also super expensive is the problem. I've been a fan of the Elise since around 2007, but before owning one, if you'd asked me what my dream car was, it would have been some flavor of Ferrari. I grew up as a Ferrari fan. My father had a Ferrari when we were kids. The house was full of Ferrari books, and I know the Ferrari catalog inside and out. But if I'd limited myself to not buying anything until it could be a Ferrari, I'd still be waiting. One of the greatest aspects of the Elise is that it gets you off the sidelines and into the game now. You don't have to wait to experience what it's like to own a dream car. Number 3. An Elise will completely change your perspective on sports car and supercar ownership, because now you're actually in the club and participating and not just looking on from the sidelines. The Lotus offers so much of what other supercars offer, but at an entry-level price. You get the looks, you get the rarity, you get the difficulty of finding parts and service, questionable reliability, attention, and amazing amounts of fun. Number 4, attention. Now this is either a plus or a minus depending on the kind of person you are, but driving a Lotus will get you the same kind of attention that driving a Ferrari or other supercar will yield. It's generally really good attention. People love seeing these cars in the wild. And when someone stops to talk to you about it, generally they're just going to be excited to see it because they've very likely never seen an Elise in person. And whether or not attention is something that you're seeking with a sports car, it goes hand in hand with the ownership regardless of whether or not you'd like it. The plus side of it being a Lotus, however, is that you can show people what it's like to have a car like the Elise and show them how it's something that's not out of reach financially. And while the Elise is very attention-grabbing, it's not a car that anyone should buy to be seen. That's what Lamborghinis are for. The Lotus is a driver's car, and people who know the brand and the history will show you respect for it. Number 5, the driving experience. People write me all the time and ask me if the Lotus Elise is as good as everyone says it is. The answer is yes, and in fact, it's even better. It may not be the highest horsepower car, it may not be the most expensive or the fastest, but it gets all of the fundamentals right for a proper dream car. It makes you feel like you're in a race car. It's low, it's loud, it's compromised, it's very compromised. It can outhandle virtually anything you'll encounter on the road. You'll feel like you're piloting a fighter jet. It's got a manual gearbox. The interior is mostly bare aluminum. The air conditioning doesn't work very well. If you take it through an automatic car wash, you void the warranty. The engine's in the back where it belongs, and it's fast, but not so fast that you can't have fun with it on public roads. So there you have it. This video is really meant to be an encouragement. If you haven't thought about the Elise before, or you've been lusting after more expensive supercars and thinking that the lifestyle that you see on YouTube or read about is just something that's not attainable because you can't afford a $100,000 sports car, consider starting with an Elise. If we've learned anything from recent world events, you never know when your number is up, or when you may or may not have the freedom to go out for a drive. Owning my Elise has been one of the greatest decisions I've ever made, and it has completely changed my life and my view on sports cars and supercars in general. I'd still like to have a Ferrari, in theory, but the truth is I've become less and less interested in them and more interested in offerings from Lotus and Porsche and McLaren, such that if I were to buy a Ferrari right now, it'd be really difficult to say which one I'd go for. It may be an F355 or a 360 or an F430, maybe a Challenge Stradale or a Scuderia, a Testarossa, a 599 or 456. But it's really hard to pin one down because the Elise is just so good. It's completely altered my perception of what I'm after in a sports car or a supercar. The Elise is almost the ideal sports car. It strips away everything else, and you find out who you really are. And that is your Auto Sugar.